Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. And to my far right, I got my man, Chris Quarters, former North Carolina State wide receiver, and today's special guest. All right, we got an NFL prospect in the house tonight, 2024. This guy right here is a HBCU national champion in 2021, Celebration Bowl champion, also MEAC champion that year. He's a 2021, 22, and 23 All MEAC Conference defensive end, outside linebacker, and HBCU Legacy Bowl participant, Mr. Patrick GodBolt. What's going on, Patrick?
What's up? What's up? Nice to be here.
Hey, appreciate you coming on the show. For the people that don't know you, let them know where you're from and a little bit about your background.
I'm Patrick GodBolt. I'm originally South Carolina born and raised. Born in Marion County. Moved up here to Columbia around middle school, and basically just been in South Carolina my whole life.
Okay. For everybody that don't know, you went to Blythewood High School, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just talk about that a little bit.
Going to Blythewood, it was an experience because coming from the small town of Marion and all that, coming up to 5A playing ball is like your team is bigger. You got more athletes, so you don't got to play both sides of the ball or anything like that anymore. So I didn't have to go through that during high school. And of course, the school system is a little bit better than going back home. So I had more opportunities in the classroom as well. So I would say Blythewood was a better outcome for me. I feel like in the end.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Chris.
So I know a little bit about South Carolina high school football, considering that I played in the Shrine Bowl, so I know a little bit about it. So Blythewood is considered a power, is it not?
A little bit of a power, a
Okay.
little bit. Had a couple down years, but they looking pretty good. I'll say so these last couple years because with all the region changing and all that.
Okay. So growing up, man, what was the first sport you played, Patrick?
The first sport I played would be baseball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it football?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not football.
It's everybody. I mean, you'd be surprised how many guests come on here, and it's another sport that they played
Mhm.
first before they played the sport that they actually, pursued. So talk about playing that, man, growing up. Like, who put the ball in your hand?
I have to go with my mom because my mom played softball and all that in high school and growing up, and like they had like different things going around Mullins, like little tournaments and stuff. And I used to be with them all the time when she used to go play softball. So I always wanted to play baseball. And then growing up, I just always wanted to be a baseball player. And right now, we're looking at the MLB. I'm thinking about I should have stayed with it, how the contracts looking just a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. So who was your favorite player? Play when you was a young kid.
I used to like David Ortiz or
Okay.
who else I used to like? Freeman for the Braves. I
Yeah.
used to like him. I used to like a couple players back in the day.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Chris.
So what positions did you play in
I played
baseball?
third base, outfield. I pitched. I played catcher as well. But
Okay.
overall, I'll say I was basically just a third baseman.
And see, it's funny that you mentioned baseball because the two of us, baseball was our first deal too.
Exactly.
And you're right about one thing, man. I mean, if we knew then what we know now about baseball and the salaries and whatnot, probably would have stuck with that. Even though it's definitely easier to get to the NFL than it is to get to the show
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you can be in minor league baseball for 20 years
Yep.
and be a prospect, and and you can just make it a career there.
True.
Versus the NFL, it could take you, just getting drafted or just getting picked by the right team.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So who were some of your favorite NFL players at the time?
Growing up, I always liked DeMarcus Ware. I was a Cowboys fan growing up.
Okay.
So the Marcus Ware, I ain't gonna cap. I used to like Tony Romo, even
Oh,
though he broke my heart a couple times back in the day. Hey, I used to like Tony Romo.
Yeah.
Who else I used to like growing up? I used to like a couple players growing up. Von Miller, I always had respect for him growing up. I always looked up to him as a pass rusher
Okay.
for
okay.
sure.
All right. Go ahead, Chris.
So now that you mentioned linebackers, well, edge versus edge slash linebackers. So is that the position that you started out playing in football?
But when I I started out playing linebacker. So
Okay.
I really made that transition to edge around I say my 8th grade year of middle school.
Okay. Okay.
So and they moved me there because they felt like I had a little bit of length and speed coming off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
So, what other position did you play before you played the edge?
Tight end, running back, and that's basically it. That's basically the only two positions besides linebacker.
Okay. And you played your Part Warner years in Marion County.
Yes, sir. I played Pop Warner like 1 year in Marion, and then that's when I came up here. When I came out here to Columbia, I played with the Bengals up here in Blythewood
Okay, I
for a
know.
year.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. And talk about going into middle school. That's when you first found your true position. What coach helped mold you into that player?
Really, it was just coming up here. I had to find myself a little bit because I had to basically it's new surroundings basically. So really, with me, it was just realizing that you're not the best athlete on the field anymore. So basically, with me, I just had to find out what I was good at and put it into the position that I felt that I can fit in the best.
I understand. Go ahead, Chris.
So with that being said, and I know every defensive player's dream is not always to play defense. If you could have chosen then what you wanted to play or what you would be playing now, what would it have been?
Running back, telling you, dog, I can tote the rock. I still can tote it to this day. They don't
Yeah,
believe me though, man. Telling you, you put me
yeah,
in the backfield, give me that rock.
yeah.
Ain't no telling what I do with it.
I feel you, man. Yep. I see you recorded some interceptions over the time at South Carolina State. So when you go into high school, did you start right away on JV or varsity, or what did you do?
Yes, sir. Coming up to 5A here, we got a 9th grade team. So I started out on the 9th grade team,
Okay.
and then I went up to JV, and that's when after that I played varsity after that. So basically, it was just uh elevating every year, basically.
Okay, cool, cool. Go ahead, Chris.
And that's a good way to transition too, because I did the same thing coming into high school. It's probably good enough if you let my friends tell the story. I could have been a varsity player 4 years, but I was always one who wanted to play with my peers.
Hmm.
I didn't want to outshine them. Not to say that I was the best, but I never wanted to seem like that was the case. But also that kind of goes along with the development piece too. To start, getting that foundation, working from the ground up.
Yes,
So
sir.
playing freshman ball, not luxurious, but certainly good way to learn, good way to build. Going up from there to JV to varsity, that's actually what I did too. And I actually did not play as a junior, believe it or not.
Mm.
That was a personal choice, but that,
Yeah.
that was just me.
Yes,
But
sir.
I kind of followed the same route that you followed too, so that's a good deal.
Yes, sir.
So did you participate in track or any other sport at the time?
Yes, sir. I did track in high school, and I played basketball for my freshman year. Then I stopped, and I actually played baseball up to my sophomore year. Then I eventually gave it up.
Okay, okay. And did you like baseball a lot?
I did. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Mhm.
That was my first like true love of sports for real. It was just I don't I don't know. once I started playing football, I started feeling love from football.
Yeah.
I just stuck with football for some reason.
Cool. So talk about the competition in your area at the time at Blythewood.
Oh, we had some pretty good comp because we had Dutch Fort. We was in the region with Dutch Fort, Irmo. We used to play Northwestern, Rock Hill, all those top schools like that. Spring Valley was good around that time because they had all those top players that went on to play, have pretty good college careers.
Yeah.
Ridgeview, of course, had a big rivalry with them boys.
Yep.
And then Westwood came along
Yep.
once. So yeah, pretty much we had some pretty good competition. A lot of major D1 players coming out of this area right here. So I say playing in that 5A region in South Carolina really like built me up a lot.
Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
So any players in particular during your time in high school that because we always say iron sharpens iron. So are there any players that you can name, like 2 or 3 that in terms of that the level of competition that actually helped to turn you into what you are now?
Yes, sir. The number one I'll say I go with is Jordan Adams. He used to play football. He was like a 5-star coming out of high school, but he ended up playing baseball and going to the MLB. But going against him every day in practice, I'll say that really like gave me a base of like how you got to break down and get in front of these guys for real.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy I'll say is Bryce Thompson. He went to Dutch Fort, played running back. It was a dog. Yeah, I think he in the USFL now, playing DB. Yeah, he was a dog in high school. But of course, Jalen Hyatt from Dutch Fort was a guy. I played against Channing Tindall when he was at Spring Valley. Yeah, there was quite a few guys coming out of this area that I had to go against.
Okay.
And it's funny you bring up Jalen and Jordan. Now, Jordan, of course, he moved to North Carolina. So that's how I first caught wind of him. I said, man, he moved from Blythewood to Greenhope because he in Cary. And I didn't realize the kid was a 5-star baseball player on top of being a dog on the basketball court. And this kid, it's a scholarship to play football and baseball at Carolina. And I'm like, oh, so he's a baseball guy. So, he's going to be a first-round draft pick. Well, I said Carolina might as well forget about him playing football. That's done.
Yes, sir.
And then with Jalen Hyatt, I actually saw the Shrine Bowl that he played in. And, of course, all those players in that particular game are supposed to be the best of the best. That kid stood out. Of course, he was smaller than everybody. He was much smaller then than he is now, right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he was faster than everybody.
Yes,
I'm like, man, I wonder where this guy's going to school. And sure enough, he ends up in Tennessee and he ends up being a guy. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. He came in a great class.
He did. Yeah, absolutely.
He had a lot of competition in the area and outside the area as well. So talk about the playoffs. Talk about that experience since y'all division, y'all competition was so neck and neck at that time.
Okay. Going into the playoffs, we never really had any. Like my sophomore year, we had a deep run in the playoffs. We made it to the 3rd round and we got kicked out by Fort D. Okay. And that's when they had the Carry-On Joyner at quarterback, and we lost to them in the 3rd round. And that's when my junior year, we had got a new coach, and like we made it to the playoffs, made it to the 1st round, and we really didn't have the season that we really wanted. And I think we lost that year to, I forgot who it was. It was some sorry team too. That's the bad part about it. But we just running the ball, and that's when my senior year, we played Nation Forward the 1st round of the playoffs. We had a new coach again, and we basically just gave in, I felt like. But it was a pretty good talent they had on that team. So I say the playoffs, I really never got a chance to get really too deep into it. Never really had that chance to take a run at state.
I understand. So talk about some of the players you played with at Blythewood.
There was a lot. Well, in my class, I had a lot of guys that I'm still cool with to this day. A lot of them really don't play football no more. Just have went on with their careers basically, but just a bunch of different guys. I had a nice running back, uh, Jalen Boyd. He's at UNC Pembroke, and then that's when I had Quentin Patton. He went to UNC Charlotte, and I think he was one of the top players in the state at that time, playing quarterback at that time. Then made that transition to wide receiver when he got over there to UNC Charlotte. And of course, his dad, David Patton. So yeah, it was a lot of hype around his name, and we had a lot of talent around that time. Just couldn't put the pieces together.
Okay, you talk about David Patton to play for the Patriots?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wide receiver, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. All right, go ahead, Chris.
I mean, that's interesting though, because going back to the whole discussion about the playoffs, my senior year 8-2, you would think with that type of record, oh yeah, you're a playoff team. Didn't make the playoffs.
Dang.
There were two teams that finished above us. One was 10-0, next was 9-1. The 9-1 team ended up winning the state championship.
Wow. Dang, records mean nothing back then.
No, they don't, man. Because like at that particular time, between the Mid-South and Southeastern conferences, because I'm from Southeastern North Carolina, from Fayetteville, North Carolina, those conferences were switching between one would get 3 teams in, the other 2, and then the next year it would switch.
Mm-hmm.
In my senior year, our conference sent 2 teams in.
Oh,
offensively, we had the best football team.
Okay.
Cohesively, we weren't the best football team. Talent-wise, we were the best, but we just – and it probably showed too in our play sometimes. Like, yeah, we know we're good. We should win, but you still got to play the game. You know what I mean? Back to your point about, we just kind of threw it in.
Yeah.
I think, especially against the 10 team, which was Terry Sanford, we just got washed 44-7, just 8 turnovers. You'll never recover from that. And that particular team actually played in the state championship the year before. So it really wasn't surprising, but that's a crosstown rival. 71st was the 9-1 team. We fumbled on our own end, 2 minutes left in the game. They score, they beat us by 3. And we don't make the playoffs. So that's just that's hard luck. But even now, teams can go 4-6, 3-7, make playoffs. And
high school,
wow. Yeah, I'm like, what are they doing? What are we doing with this, man? I mean, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs, but I do understand it's your conference that matters.
Yep.
If you play in a good conference, you win 4 games in, you probably do deserve to be in. But I just look at the overall body of work, and sometimes I just wonder.
Yep.
True.
Yep. So talk about any Shrine Bowl or North South?
I actually didn't get invited to neither one of those. That's the crazy part about it.
What?
And I went up going to play in the Columbia Metro Bowl because that's the year they started that, and that's when I was surprised myself because I don't know what happened with the North. I was pretty sure I was supposed to go to the North South, and that's when at the last minute I realized never got my invitation to that, so I ended up playing in the Columbia Metro Bowl.
Talk about that a little bit. How was that?
It was a good experience. It was good that they started that, and that's basically going off of what they got going on now. They got the little blitz game they got going on for all the high school players and all that because of how it really is with the voting and how they get into the North-South game and the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
So really, I felt like me going to that just fueled me more coming into college, like to build up and make sure I'm that guy coming through the process.
I understand. Yep. Go ahead, Chris.
And in circumstances like that, it tends to increase your hunger too. It definitely keeps you humble. I mean, it's a hurtful situation now. I get that, because of course you got the North-South game, which is the Shrine Bowl for us, but then we got East-West in North Carolina.
Yep.
I actually was supposed to participate in the East-West game, but because of the head coach of North Carolina State, I could not. And I'm like, wow, I at least wanted to experience it, because Shrine Bowl, I understand, the cause is great. It wasn't necessarily about stats. One of the top 30 players, because only 60 players make it, 30 per team. So you wanted the 60 out of both teams. So that was excellent. But when I was a wide receiver, no stats, no nothing. I think we threw 5 passes that game. 3 went to tight ends, 1 went to a running back, and then the only pass that went to a wide receiver actually was a defensive back who was the #1 wide receiver in America, but he ended up playing defensive back at the University of Michigan. Yeah, so
turns out types of ways, man.
Yeah, but I'm looking at you. I'm like, wow, how do you make that decision for a player your status to not make the Shrine Bowl? Because you have to be one of the best 30 players in the state of South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
You gotta be.
Yep. So how many offers did you get? How many visits did you take after the season?
Well, I took quite a couple, actually. I had about 5 to 6 offers coming out of high school, D2 and D1. But during my recruiting process, I went to visit basically everywhere. Had a couple of PWOs from South Carolina and Clemson.
Okay.
And it came down to Citadel and South Carolina State at the end of the day. And basically with that process, it just came down to what was the better fit for me. And I felt like going to South Carolina State was better for me.
Man, it's a great pick. So you get there, man. You get involved with Coach Buddy Pugh. Talk about playing in his era, because you played at his, the last tenure. His season in the same time. Talk about playing under his helm.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part about it. My freshman year, he was supposed to retire that year. That's what it was supposed to happen, but he stayed. Coming in as a freshman, playing under Buddy Pugh, it's like a reality check because like how much respect he gets around Orangeburg and generally in South Carolina. Anywhere you go, you tell them you play for South Carolina State. Oh, that's one of the Buddy Pugh boys right there. Yeah, so it was an honor to play for him, and I'll go back and do it again if I had the chance to, for real.
Understand? Yep.
Yeah.
Talk about the culture there at South Carolina State. You had Kobe DeBrant, Shaq Davis. Now you got Jablonski Green that played alongside you at the HBCU Legacy Bowl. Talk about playing with so many phenomenon players and the history of great NFL players that come from South Carolina State.
That's part of my decision why I went there. Just all the great talent that came out of there, like Darius Leonard. That's like right down the road from Mullins and Marion, him and from Lakeview, and all them. So that's part of the reason why I went there. Javon Hargraves and all them boys. And when I got there, started playing with Shaq, Kobe, Jablonski, of course. It just so many great athletes around you. You got to be great yourself. You want to put yourself out there, make yourself look great. So really, South Carolina State, it's like a grind. Like it's a fight because like we don't have everything that all the other top schools have. So like it just makes you want to grind harder. And that's when you make it or you feel like you almost there. It's just like the process ain't done yet because like it's built into you at that point. Because coming from South Carolina State, like when I look back at it, it's a lot of stuff that I wish that I had going to that school because I feel like it would have helped me out. Definitely like our nutrition that's going to the cafeteria. And like I wish I had that because I feel like I could have put on more weight earlier in my career and would have had a better season and been able to take better care of my body. But overall, I say my experience at South Carolina State and being around all those guys really built me into the player I am right now.
All right. Well, sure. I got some highlights, man, for everybody that's watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have NFL 2024 prospect Mr. HBCU national champion, all MEAC, MEAC conference champion, and HBCU Legacy Bowl participant, defensive offensive linebacker, outside linebacker, I'm sorry, Patrick GodBolt. All right, GodBolt. We're going to go ahead and get into this clip real quick. We'll get into two of them real quick. Y'all stay with us. For everybody that's watching, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, share, and comment, okay? All right, stay with us, Patrick, all right?
All right.
You too, Chris, okay?
All right, I got you.
All right.
A great stop also for South Carolina State.
Smith back to pass, evades the rush, spins out of it, still on his feet. He's sacked. He sacked Patrick GodBolt back at the 45.
All right. That was at home, and that was against which team was that, Patrick?
That was against Morgan.
Morgan.
Right. Yes, sir.
Oh,
We're going to go ahead and get into another clip, okay?
cool.
On 2nd and 6, and there's the pressure brought down by Patrick GodBolt, and they need to see more of that from their graduate out of Blythewood, South Carolina.
That's what they need. They need to pressure the quarterback. We know that Brown's a pocket passer. Win your one-on-one matchups there. Good job going underneath. Cameron James got the pad level down, able to come up with a huge play for this defense.
A number of preseason selections for this South Carolina State.
All right. So you're just getting in there on the edge and getting to the quarterback. You also played in the Celebration Bowl in 2021. I know that COVID season was your first year. Talk about your second season and y'all, sweeping out the MEAC and winning that conference and going into the Celebration Bowl and winning against Jackson State.
That was it started off as a rocky season for real, and I feel like that all changed after we played Clemson. Everybody got a kick in their butt, and it really lit a fire under the team. And once we started getting into conference play, all the pieces was put together, and we had great leadership on the team, and we just basically ran through the conference. I felt like, because every game, even if the game was close during that time, we always felt we was in the driver's seat of the game, basically.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
So your non-conference schedule, who did y'all play besides Clemson?
Non-conference, we played who we played that year? Clemson. Sheesh, it was Clemson, New Mexico State. Golly, it was one more team that we played that was non-conference. That was big time. I can't even think of the team right now.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's just basically those games just help prepare. I mean, it made the conference easy.
Yes, sir.
It takes those Clemson games, those New Mexico games to kind of prepare you for the MEAC. And I've been around the MEAC for a long time, and it was either South Carolina State, Florida A&M when they were in it, or North Carolina A&T. Howard kind of, every now and again, but it was basically those three programs. And I can't remember for the life of me any of those programs playing schools like you guys played non-conference.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the 2023 season a little bit. I know you guys fell short of the MEAC, but you came out with some good stats and made some plays. You ended the season with, about 20-something tackles and, a lot of assists. I mean, not a lot of assists, but a lot of solo tackles. Talk about this season, this past season a little bit.
This season right here was pretty good. We got a new defense coordinator in after Coach Sachs got a new job at Wofford.
Yep.
But we came in, we put it together, and we bought into the defense basically. And I basically just went through the season, making sure that me being the leader on the team, everybody try to buy in as good as they can to the new defense and make sure they able to learn it. And it really just this year I felt like we could have been better this year overall, but in reality, having a new defense coordinator, a lot of people were unable to like get into the system and fit into the system. Basically, like because basically our defense coordinator came in, he doesn't have like players that built into his system. So I say basically this season as a defense could have been a lot better, but in reality, it was pretty decent for myself, I would say, with my play.
I understand what you're saying as a player. You got certain coaches that recruit certain players for their scheme or scheme fits. You understand? So certain players, if you have a new coach coming in and you got a lot of players from another coach that he inherit, sometimes it may not adjust well for that scheme because you guys so deep in the previous scheme before. I get it. Yeah. But we're gonna go ahead and get into the highlight. It's just like a collage of all your highlights here at South Carolina State. For everybody that's watching, we don't own the rights to the clips or the music in this clip. Just want to go ahead and put that out there. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. All right. We got 2024 NFL draft prospect, South Carolina State defensive end, outside linebacker Patrick Godbolt. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into this clip. Stay with us, fellas.
Patrick, just talking, the defensive line obviously stepped up today. Just talk a little about what they were able to do and what your kind of mindset was going into this game.
Our mindset was to go in there and attack, stop the run, of course, and get after the quarterback, of course, because I think we had over 5 sacks today. Yeah. So I feel like we did our ultimate goal today.
Single-handedly saving world hunger.
Godbolt.
By Patrick Godbolt. And
Patrick Godbolt.
Snow cone watch, effing in two-tone. Pull up in a coupe with no roof on. We straight out the mud with no boots on. I took out the white and count blues on it. So I say I gotta slide. Hop out and skate on the gun line.
One of our favorite players for the Bulldogs. An outstanding defender on that edge. He is
Snow cone watch, effing in two-tone. Pull up in a coupe with no roof on. We straight out the mud with no boots on. I took out the white and count blues on it. So I say I gotta slide, but I don't got skates on, yeah. Who caught here dancing hard in the dark, couldn't trap out the house, so I sold up the block. Whoever knew I'd be at the top in the A, in the stools, me Quavo and walk. I put the hood on my back, can't stop. Next so icy and look at the watch. Design it, call for the throne, the sauce. Snow cone iced out, look how I talk. Pulled up rolls, coupe high, rolled off in the ghost, no top, chop came with a stop. Reach at the neck, feels a knock on the mouth, come now I'm up, trying to come off. 18 high, so popping and raw. 2-tone, one of them hard, one soft. Snow cone on one, I want both of them. If in all black, look like a play gun. Brush on with it, you with it, just say something. Man, with the arguing and bark, I won't say much. Been with the same one with it since day one. Tried out the PJ, really like icon. You would be dumb if you think I won't spray nothing. Running with killers and dealing like dope boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We back. We got NFL draft prospect Patrick Godbolt in the house. All MEAC conference, HBCU national champion, all the accolades you can think of. He did it there in HBCU. All right. Chris, go ahead and throw your questions at him, man.
Of course, we all follow some form of social media, and you always see comments, about NIL and transfer portals and things of that sort. And then, even though I played college football in the 80s, I mean, college football is college football. The only thing that was missing at the time was athletes not getting paid. So tell us a little something about the life of an actual student athlete on the university level.
Right now in today's society, like you got a lot of people reaching out to you, trying to get you to do things for them because of the NILs and stuff like that. And of course, being a student athlete, you got class and you got football. And for us, we had practice at 6, 7 in the morning. So basically after that, you're practicing for 2 hours. Then next thing you know, you're in class. You might have a class at 8 a.m. So you coming straight from the football field, showering, running to class. So basically, it's a lot on your body. You got to make sure you get a lot of sleep. Because if you don't, you ain't gonna be able to last. Because then you gonna flunk out probably, not being showing up to class. Then you're not going to perform in the classroom. Then you're not gonna be able to perform on the field because you're not performing in the classroom. So basically, it's a lot of hardship on you, I feel like. And like the way I really handled it was basically just make sure all my work was done at the beginning of the week. Because once my work was done at the beginning of the week, I can focus on football basically at, during coming up to the game and all that. So really, being a student athlete is hard, but it's hard. It's better if you make it easy on yourself, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's a true testament. You know, everything that you said, I mean, is awesome. I wished I had done that myself because I was in your shoes once upon a time. The only difference is that I had major injuries going into the process, so I wouldn't have been able to pass an NFL physical anyway. So I dug myself such a hole that, you know, it's going to take, you know, some real work to kind of get out of it in order to finish. But, you know, eventually I finished, you know, went to graduate school and did all those things. But you being listed as a graduate, everyone who's listening should really be paying attention to that. So COVID was your first year. So how long did it actually take you to graduate, to finish your undergraduate studies?
Well, it took me 4 years. I majored in biology because I changed my major after my first semester.
Okay.
And then that's when I started working on my biology degree. And at the moment, well, I'm taking a semester off right now, but I'm working on my master's in nutrition.
So what you intend to do with that?
At first, I was thinking about going to medical school, but now that I'm working on my nutritional science degree, I'm thinking about becoming a registered dietitian and then like working people out and like give them like workout plans. And I might even dabble in physical therapy if it comes down to it. Yes, sir.
Man, that's great, man. That's awesome. So you just participated in the HBCU Legacy Bowl. That was in New Orleans. Talk about that a little bit. You played with you and Jablonski Green, correct? From South Carolina. Sir. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, that was a great experience because I went down there last Saturday for the combine and all that. The combine was that Monday. We had some good times, put up some good numbers for the scouts. Had a lot of scouts there. That was probably like one of the biggest events that I went to so far besides CGS down in Fort Worth, Texas. Okay. And going down there, it really showed me like there actually is a lot. This is probably one of the best HBCU draft classes in a little while. Because usually we have like one or two people that you know are going to enter the league. But this year, it's so many people out there on that field that was out there last week. You really don't know who's going to make a pop because it's like our team was stacked. A team gathers. We had D linemen, linebackers, our safeties, corners, quarterbacks, all the running backs was good. So, and then even on Coach Berry's side, there was a lot of athletes coming from Jackson and all that and the SWAC and all that. So really, it was like a lot of good competition, a lot of scouts, of course. And like really, it just really shows you like how to carry yourself as an athlete because you got to be on your P's and Q's because you never know who you're talking to. Because we were just walking around, like I ended up bumping into like 2 different scouts just walking through the hotel. Didn't even know I was talking to a scout.
Yep. What type of person you are on the sly. Yeah. So we got a clip, man, from last weekend, your participation in the Legacy Bowl. Let's go ahead and get into it. For everybody that's watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got an NFL draft prospect in the house tonight, Mr. Patrick GodBolt from South Carolina State University. We don't own the rights to this clip. Go ahead and get into it, okay? Y'all stay with me, okay? So I saw that Jablonski got in the tackle for loss. You got your head in there just now. I heard the North Carolina Central quarterback. Yeah, I heard he can spin it.
Yeah, he nice. Playing against him for sure. Had to play against him for 4 years. Yeah, he a dog.
All right. Now I see that you have plans other than football. You got a career path that you choose it. You got a backup plan. But going into the combine this past week, how do you feel about the numbers you put up? I saw that you ran like a 4.3 or 4.4 in the 40.
Yes, sir.
What?
With that process,
Ooh.
it was a little good.
Outside like an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was pretty good numbers because I've been training up here with Apex, so I say like I did pretty good, decent numbers out there. Wish I would have did a little better with my broad jump, but besides that, I feel pretty good about my numbers that I put out there.
I told you Chris was he has a workout facility. He know what it takes to.
You running sub 4.4, dude. Let me and I hopefully a scout, a GM, a coach they're looking at this. If you don't take a shot at this gentleman right here on the screen, because you can't coach speed, you can't you can't coach talent. Either you have it or you don't, and you definitely can't coach drive, and you have all of those.
Yeah,
you have all of those.
Yes, sir.
And the fact that, and I don't like, and this kind of steered me away from going to an HBCU, and I wish I had not listened. You know, you always hear, you know what, if you go to an HBCU, you know, you're not going to get the attention that you probably could going to a bigger school. Well, that might be so, but would you rather be a big fish in a small pond or a small fish in a big pond? Because small fish in big ponds, they get lost.
That's true.
The big fish never gonna get lost. Ever.
Yeah, man. So let me ask you, man, what have you enjoyed the most about playing college football? You just played your last down of college football this past weekend. It just went by that fast. Just think about from COVID, coming from Blythewood to where you're at now. What have football taught you?
Football taught me how to carry myself for real, because I'm really a quiet person, and like football really brings that side of me out, that talkative person that likes to have fun. So like when I'm being quiet, and then that's when I step on the field, it really brings that goofy, fun, exciting person and that like animal on the field, basically. Because like basically with me, I'm gonna talk to you, but I ain't gonna talk to you. You feel me? Because like if I'm shy at the end of the day. I'm not shy. I wouldn't say I'm shy, but I'm just not a talkative person, basically.
You initiate conversation. You pretty much respond, is what you say.
Right.
All right. Chris, go ahead.
And you know what? You don't necessarily have to be talkative person per se or by nature. I'm not that way. The one thing you can do when you're quiet, you learn what other people are doing. You learn how they are.
Yes, sir.
You know, you can observe and you kind of get, the temperature of the room and whatnot, and you know what to do from that point on. So I would much rather be the quiet person where people have to say, man, I wonder how that guy is, versus the firecracker, the one you hear all the time. I mean, no mystery to it. You probably could just say, you know what, person's probably not serious anyway. And these scouts that are coming around, they observe that kind of stuff. They do. They know.
Man, as far as all the tests, man, it look like to me that you're sitting pretty good. The team that you would like to play for, what would it be?
All of them. Jeez. It don't matter.
Great answer.
Anybody.
So, for real. So, any message for the youth?
Start grinding early. Work your craft. Stay in the classroom. Always have a backup plan.
All right. Man, any shout outs before we head out? Thank anybody along your journey?
I'd like to shout out to my mom and my dad, all my trainers over the past couple years. Shout out to all my family back home in Mullins and Marion. Appreciate all the support, and that's about it.
Okay. Are you and Xavier Leggett related or friends?
Nah, we grew up playing ball together and stuff. Yeah.
Man, I try to tell you, this show right here is a big connection, man. But appreciate you coming on the show, man. Great, best of luck. You played an awesome career at South Carolina State. I had the enjoyment of watching, up close and personal and on TV. And Chris, is there anything you like to add before we head out?
I mean, it was a pleasure having you on the show. I am personally looking forward to seeing you play on Sunday.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
I know it's going to happen. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And it's going to be coming soon. It's going to be like September. You're going to be out there, bro.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Appreciate it, Patrick, man. Shout out to everybody that go to Blythewood, in Columbia, South Carolina. Go Bengals. And appreciate everybody tuning in, watching this show. You just watch a new edition of Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. I'd like to thank my co-host tonight, Mr. Chris Quarters, former North Carolina State wide receiver, and he's a coach, and he actually runs a workout facility for the youth, okay? Also, I want to thank my guest, Mr. All MEAC, HBCU national champion, HBCU Legacy Bowl participant, 2024 NFL draft prospect, Patrick GodBolt, all right, from Marion, South Carolina via Columbia, South Carolina, all right? For everybody, our motto is not how you start, it's how you finish. And stay tuned to us, and we'll be coming back for more, all right? We appreciate you tuning in. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. We also have merch available, and you can just follow the links at the end of this podcast, all right? So appreciate everybody coming on the show. Y'all have a good night. You guys stay behind the screen after we go live, all right?
All right.